Hare Krishna. I'm very happy to be here with all of you to celebrate the most sweet and wonderful festival of Gopashtami. Although the original tithi or the actual date of the festival was about 5 days ago, we are on the 13th lunar day, the 13th tithi in the bright fortnight of the month of Kartik. So today is actually Trayodashi, the 13th day, and Gopashtami, as the term indicates, is on the 8th tithi. So that's the Ashtami tithi. So we are celebrating it 5 days late, but doesn't matter because we are commemorating one of the most sweet pastimes that happened in Vrindavan regarding Krishna and the cows. So I'm getting a message here that all the participants performed Go Puja, after which you all went to install a nameplate on a shed which Yamuna Leela Mataji sponsored before her departure from this world. And then everybody did Damodar Deepdan and had prasadam. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, Yamuna Leela Mataji loved cows very much. And it is so nice that a nameplate for her has been set up on the cow shed which she sponsored. I'm sure that she'll be serving the cows and Krishna and Radharani wherever they have taken her. She'll always be there serving the cows. Actually, it's such a fortune that all the devotees in Melbourne have access to this most beautiful farm, Mother Cow Dairy, where you can actually come and serve the cows, brush them, feed them, clean the dung, and do many other services. This is a fortune that is not available to most ISKCON temples or most ISKCON devotee communities. And so we must really give credit to Gaurav, Prabhu, Neha, Mataji and Madhavi, of course, along with all the other devotees who have been serving Mother Cow Dairy in various capacities and to various extents. And there's too many devotees to name, but I want to thank all of you, each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart, for rendering your services in this most beautiful project of Mother Cow Dairy outside of Melbourne, Australia. And also want to thank all of you who are attending the program today with a request that you please come and participate in this Go-Seva project as much as you can, whenever you can. Now today is the day when Krishna started taking care of the cows. Earlier he was taking care of the calves. And before we come to the short discussion of the festival itself, I just want to speak a bit about the importance of cows and cow protection in Vedic culture, in Krishna consciousness, and for human society at large in general. Srila Prabhupada has spoken a lot about the importance of cow protection, serving the cows, and why cows are important for all of us in human society. We can see Krishna's connection with the cows. His name is Gopal, which means the tender of the cows. His name is Govinda, one who gives pleasure to the cows and to the senses also. His abode is called Gokul, the home of the cows, or Goloka, the planet of the cows. His favorite place for grazing the cows and for performing pastimes is Govardhan, that hill that nourishes the cows and makes them happy. Krishna is also called Gopati, the Lord of the cows. So there are so many such names of Krishna which are connected to the cows, which indicate that the cows are very dear to Krishna. Therefore we have the famous verse, Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha, Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya, Govindaya, Namo Namaha. All of us are familiar with this verse, where we offer respects to Govinda, who is the protector of the Brahminical culture, who is the well-wisher of the devotees and the cows. Namo Namaha. So we offer obeisances to this Govinda, who is always wishing well for the cows. So Krishna's favorite animal is the cow, although in Vrindavan we see from the Srimad Bhagavatam that he loves all living entities. He loves the peacocks, he loves the deer, he loves the monkeys, he loves all the animals, all the living entities. But in particular, the cows are his favorite. And because these cows are so dear to Krishna, they are also dear to Krishna's devotees. Now, a devotee is one who is devoted to Krishna. And being devoted to Krishna means that we love him and we want to do whatever pleases him. So how do we understand what pleases Krishna? If Krishna states that this is what I love, these are the people I love, or these are the animals that I love, then we should also love them. And if we love them and serve them and protect them and make them happy, then Krishna will also be happy. It's very simple. So, therefore, a very easy way of pleasing Krishna and progressing in our Krishna consciousness is to please those that Krishna loves and keep them happy. So, the devotees are very dear to Krishna, so we keep the devotees happy, we serve them nicely, we don't offend them. Tulasi Maharani is very dear to Krishna, so we serve Tulasi Maharani. Many people consider Tulasi as being important because of the medicinal qualities that her leaves impart to whatever we take, whether it's a decoction or any other type of medicine. But that is not the real reason why we serve Tulasi. We serve Tulasi because she is very dear to Krishna, not because of her medicinal qualities. Similarly, we serve Krishna cows, we love them because they are very dear to Krishna. Now, because cows are very dear to Krishna, it doesn't mean that other animals are not, or other entities are not, but especially the cows are dear to Krishna. Therefore, while we in particular serve the cows, it doesn't mean that we should go and harm the other animals, that we should slaughter them and kill them and eat them and so on. So we also value and protect and love other animals. We don't cause them any harm, but at the same time, there is a very special place for cows. So this is the first reason why we serve cows, because we are devotees of Krishna and cows are dear to Krishna, therefore we serve them. This is the most important reason, the spiritual reason, the bhakti reason for serving cows. And we see there are a large number of pastimes of Krishna connected to the cows. Actually, Krishna did that for most of the day, or he does it for most of the day in Vrindavan. From the Srimad Bhagavatam we read that Krishna used to leave early in the morning with the cows and his cowherd boyfriends, go into the forest, a different forest each day. He would graze the cows, and when the cows were grazing, he and his friends would engage in frolicsome pastimes, and occasionally then Krishna would also kill the demons. And then he would return in the evening with the cows and his friends. So we can see that Krishna was with the cows all day long. So except for the cowherd boys, it was only the cows who had the association of Krishna for the longest period of time in the day. The Vrajavasis could see Krishna only when he was leaving for the forest and when he was returning from the forest. But at other times, they would see Krishna, but within their hearts. Because they loved Krishna so much, they would be constantly meditating upon him and singing his glories and pastimes and his names. So therefore we see how important the cows are in Krishna's pastimes and how much time Krishna spent with them. The second reason for protecting cows, as Srila Prabhupada has explained, is from a moral point of view, that they are like our mother. The Vedic scriptures say that we have 7 mothers. One of them is our biological mother, one of them is Mother Earth, and so on, and one of them is Mother Cow. The mother is one who nourishes the child, who looks after the child with a lot of affection and care. And so the mother has a very special place in the life of everybody. Actually, the mother is even more important than the father. Although both are very important, but according to the Shastras, the value of the mother is even more. And cow is also such a mother for us. Incidentally, our biological mother gives us milk only for a short period of time, for a few months, whereas Mother Cow gives us milk from the time of our childhood, our birth, all the way till we leave this world, till death. So therefore we can understand how important Mother Cow is to us. She is our mother, she nourishes us, she takes care of us, and therefore it behooves us to look after her nicely, just as we would look after our own mother. So therefore it is a very great crime to harm Mother Cow in any way by mistreating her, not looking after her properly, not feeding her, not treating her for her illness, and worst of all, to sell her to the slaughterhouse. Just as when our mother and father grow old, we don't send them out of the house, we don't send them to be killed, we look after them till their very end with great care. So similarly, because the cow is the mother, we look after the cows very, very nicely. The third reason Srila Prabhupada explains is that the cow is not only a mother, but the cow also has great, apart from having spiritual and moral value, she also has a lot of health benefits. What are the health benefits? Because the cow gives us milk, and milk, as Srila Prabhupada said, is a miracle food. It's the best sattvic food available. And it is filled with many medicinal and health-giving attributes. It has vitamins, it has fat and many other things that we need for our milk, for our good health. And from milk, you can derive so many delicious foodstuffs like butter, buttermilk, ghee, and you can use all of these to even prepare further ingredients like sweets and so on and so forth. So not only are the products of the cow good for health, but they're also delicious, and they have a lot of culinary benefit because of the delicious nature of the cow's milk and the derivatives of the cow's milk. So this is another benefit. Also, the cow has economic benefit. Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita speaks about the economics of human society. And he says, Krishi Goraksha Vanijyam Vaishya Karma Svabhavajam. That the Vaishyas, or the mercantile class of people, they do Goraksha, they do Krishi and Vanijya. Goraksha means cow protection, and Krishi means agriculture, and Vanijya means trade. So these are the three activities for which the mercantile people are famous, or they're engaged in. Now, Mother Cow provides not just milk, but she also provides dung and urine. Now, generally, this dung can be used as a compost, as a manure for the agricultural field. And especially when you mix cow dung with all sorts of biomanures, biomaterials like leaves and grass and twigs and many other things that are found in the pasture lands and in the forest and in the fields, then that becomes very potent manure, which can be used to fertilize the soil so that the soil becomes very productive for agriculture. Ultimately, without good agriculture, we will not get good crops. Without good crops, we will not have good food to eat. And without good food to eat, how can we survive and be healthy as a society? So it is very, very important that we have healthy soil. I don't know how many of you are aware that one of the biggest problems the world faces now is the degradation and poor quality of soil and the desertification of land, and the degree to which the soil is becoming very arid. Arid means that it is no longer useful for cultivation and for growth of crops and fruits and trees and plants and so on. So this is a major problem. And therefore, restoring the health of the soil to a good condition where it will become very healthy and productive is very important. And one of the key factors for this is ordinary cow dung, which is mixed with many other forms of bio-waste. Nothing is waste in nature. It can be utilized for the good health of the soil. So that can regenerate the soil in ways that we cannot imagine. So for it is an economic necessity to have cows. In other words, when cows are present, the tripod of the economy of human society can be maintained. Because if you have cows, then you can have good agriculture. Also, when the cows graze on the soil, because of the pressure of their hooves and because they disperse cow dung and cow urine everywhere, so the soil becomes even more fertile. In this way, from an economic point of view, not just because of milk and milk products are an important part of the economy, but even the dung and the urine have great economic value. And since we spoke about health, we know that from an Ayurvedic point of view, cow dung, cow urine, and milk and its derivatives have great medicinal value. So there is something called Panchagavya Chikitsa, or therapy based on the 5 products of the cow, which is essentially cow dung, cow urine, ghee, etc. So these materials are extremely useful from a health point of view, from an economic point of view. So the cows provide all these materials. It is important to note that this is natural food for the soil. Just as when we human beings ingest chemical foods, it is very harmful for our system. Therefore, we have to eat natural organic food as much as possible. Similarly, for the soil, we need to give it natural food. And the natural food is organic. The natural food is compost, that is based upon cow dung and cow urine. And in this way, the cows are of great value economically, and the bulls, they provide what we call draft power. They can drive your bullock carts, they can engage in various other acts of transportation to move materials from one place to another place. They can provide draft power for cottage industries to make, let us say, sugarcane juice from sugarcane, to crush grains like wheat, etc. You can make oil from oil seeds by crushing them with a rotary motion of the bullocks. So there are many things that the bullocks can also do to provide economic value to human society. So it's not just Krishna consciousness, not just health and better quality of life in terms of tasty food, but it's also a lot of economics that are involved here. And the cows also become a part of the family. They participate in the activities of the house. Nowadays, people are very stressed. It's one of the main features of modern society, a high level of stress. And in various countries, I'm sure it happens in Australia also, but definitely I know it happens in certain parts of Europe, where ranches or farms which have cows open up their farms on certain days for the general public, who come and pay a tidy sum of money just to spend time with the cows and brush them and be with them, because this is a stress buster. And I've seen many videos and pictures of many of you who you haven't paid money to come here, but you just come because you love the cows, because you want to serve them, and then you engage with the cows in so many different ways and experience great happiness. So you're all very fortunate that you can come and spend such quality time with the cows. So in any case, these are just some of the benefits. One could go on and on. And the harm that is caused by killing cows is terrible. The karmic reactions that ensue causing harm to cows is terrible. Srila Prabhupada used to say that many of the wars, all the wars that we have, the crime, the violence, etc., that is cruelty that is going on in society, is largely a karmic reaction to two things. In general, to sinful activities, but specifically to killing of children in the womb, that is abortion, and killing of cows. So these two are considered the two most sinful activities in human society. Therefore, one must be very, very cautious to not perform these activities. And therefore, we protect cows to protect human society from sinful activities and the reactions that come as a result of those activities. So Srila Prabhupada again and again emphasized this to a degree that may be surprising for most devotees. There are literally hundreds of quotes of Srila Prabhupada on this topic of why protecting cows is so important. Srila Prabhupada wanted in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness that we should have such goshalas, that we should have such self-sufficient farm projects which has cows and which has agriculture, and naturally some vanijya or trade will also be there. So the Mother Cow Dairy project is a project that is in keeping with Srila Prabhupada's desire and his vision to have cows, agriculture, and trading based on cows and agriculture to achieve some degree of self-sufficiency and to please Krishna. Srila Prabhupada wanted simple living, high thinking for his devotees. And these farm projects facilitate exactly that, where you live a simple life in harmony with nature, in the beauty of nature, surrounded by the most loving mother cows and their calves and bulls. And then you do various services there. It's a blissful life. It's not without its anxieties and pains, because anything good that you do in life will involve some degree of anxiety. Everything involves anxiety in this material world, but living a life like this provides one part of the solution, a permanent solution for all the anxieties of life. So really it is so wonderful that we have this project here, and Gaurav and Neha and Madhavi have taken such a major step in their life, such a major transformation, such a major life-changing event this project has been for them, where they are practically living here, although occasionally they have to go back to their business. And also to Hari Gopal Prabhu and many of you who are there. As I said earlier, I'm hesitant to name names in case I miss out somebody. But I really want to thank all of you for having participated in this project. Please do so in course of time, according to your life situation. Perhaps you may want to come in here for longer periods of time and see if you can do work from home from here, and or perhaps you work here itself for pleasure, and in this way make this a vibrant devotee community. The milk and other milk products that are coming from Mother Cow Dairy are also serving Radha Vallabha in such a nice way. The milk that the deities require is coming from here. So you're serving the deities, you're serving the devotees, you're serving the cows. It's a wonderful project. And anyway, since we are here on Gopashtami, we're talking about Gopashtami, there must be some discussion about this festival. Otherwise, it won't be complete. As I have mentioned earlier, Krishna was a great lover of the cows, and that is his profession. Well, why not? It may sound surprising, how can God have a profession? And the answer is, if you and I can have profession, why can't God have a profession? Of course, Krishna does it out of love, and he was born in a cowherder's family. Nanda Maharaj, his father, was the chief of the cowherds of Vrindavan, and he had 900,000 cows. And the whole village used to look after these cows. It was a collective activity. It was individual and collective, because the different cowherds had their own cows, but also they all went out together for grazing, etc. They jointly took responsibility for everything. This was a perfect human society that was organized around the cows and the land and Krishna. So, when Krishna was very small, he grew up surrounded by cows. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we read pastimes of baby Krishna and baby Balaram enacting many pastimes with the calves. They would pull the tails of the calves, and the calves, being frightened, would run hither and thither. And then all the gopis who were around would enjoy the fun. And the bodies of Krishna and Balaram would get smeared in cow dung and cow urine. And by the way, these also, according to the Srimad Bhagavatam and Vedic culture, are excellent means of affording protection. Whenever the demons would come and Krishna would kill them, especially when Krishna was a baby, Mother Yashoda after Putana was killed, she anointed baby Krishna's body with tilak of cow dung and cow urine, and she waved the switch of the cow's tail to afford protection. So Srila Prabhupada says that people in the modern day and age do not realize the different means of giving protection to humans. So serving cows and using cow dung, cow urine and the tail of the cow, etc. are considered extremely valuable, and they afford protection. So protection is found at various degrees, and utilizing the cows for our protection is something very important. We protect the cows and the cows protect us. Dharmo rakshati rakshataha. So if you protect dharma, dharma protects you. If you protect cows, cows protect you, because cows will be very happy and joyful, and they will give you abundant blessings, and that's what we need. In one purport, Srila Prabhupada says that simply by keeping cows and bulls happy, human society can become happy. This one sentence is like a sutra. It is like a condensed formula for the happiness of human society. Keep Krishna happy, keep the cows happy, and human society will be happy. Just see, remember this one formula. That's all we need for human society to be happy. So Krishna grew up with the cows, and he was performing these pastimes, and Mother Yashoda and the gopis were absorbed in an ocean of bliss, seeing baby Krishna and baby Balaram engaging with the calves. As time went by, he wanted to go with his father Krishna when the elders were taking the cows out to graze. And a couple of times Nanda Maharaj took Krishna and Balaram, for grazing. And then these little boys, they barely could speak. They couldn't even pronounce words clearly. So they were very inquisitive, and they asked many questions. They would climb into the lap of Nanda Maharaj or into the lap of any of the other older Gopas, and they would ask them questions. Which is this bird? Why is this a peacock? Is that a parrot? What is this tree here? And because they were speaking in such a sweet manner, the Gopas or the cowherd boys would drown in ecstasy, because Krishna anyway is very attractive and very sweet. And when he was enacting his childhood pastimes in this manner, the older Gopas would find great joy. And then they would come back. When Mother Yashoda and Rohini, mother of Balaram, came to know that the Gopas were taking Krishna and Balaram out into the forest, they became very upset. And next time when Nanda Maharaj wanted to take Krishna and Balaram, and he approached Mother Yashoda and says, look, we want to take Krishna and Balaram for grazing, because these boys they're really coming after us. They're very eager to go for grazing. And Mother Yashoda and Mother Rohini flatly refused. And they said, no, you cannot take out. It's unprecedented. How can you take out such small babies for grazing? The cows are huge animals, and our babies are just very small. And in case they step over the babies, or they have very big horns, and they move their head also in such a way, there's every possibility that our Krishna and Balaram can get injured. So they forbade them from taking Krishna and Balaram out. So Krishna and Balaram became very morose, and they were very unhappy with their mothers. So how come our mothers are stopping us from going, accompanying our elders for grazing the cows? Then one day what happened is that Krishna and Balaram, who were very small at that time, along with their friends, they ran away into the forest. They were playing, and in the course of playing, they just ran away. and then they lost their way in the forest. And so when they lost their way, they realized that, we don't know where we are. They started playing, and eventually, somehow or the other, they found their way back. After this, there was an Ishtagoshti that was called in Vraj. The news spread all over Vraj that Krishna, Balaram, and some of the cowherd boys, they got lost in the jungle. They were so eager to go with the cows, and they were forbidden from doing so. And therefore, somehow or the other, they wanted to do it. They were deprived of the opportunity, so they have run away into the forest for playing. So it is a very dangerous thing. So now what we should do, what should we do here now? So they came to the conclusion that we should at least give Krishna and Balaram and their friends of the same age an opportunity to herd the calves. Not the cows, because the cows are too big, but at least the calves who are very tiny. Even the calves, of course, are quite strong, and they were perhaps of the same size as Krishna and Balaram. So then, after this Ishtagoshti, there was a decision that we will formally permit Krishna, Balaram, and the cowherd boys to graze the calves. So a grand festival was organized in Vraja, and officially Krishna and Balaram were anointed as Vatsapa. Vatsa means a calf, Pa means a palak, or one who herds or looks after. So they became officially the herders of calves, and this went on for some time. At that time, Mother Yashoda wanted Krishna to have some footwear, because she was concerned that there are pebbles and there are thorns in the forest, and when Krishna will walk on them, these pebbles and thorns will prick Krishna's feet and hurt him. So she proposed to Krishna that here is some footwear that I have for you. And Krishna said, look, Mother, we are the servants of the cows. We love the cows more than anything else in this world. So therefore, if you want me to wear footwear, then so should the cows. Mother Yashoda said, Krishna, this is not practical. There are 900,000 cows. And remember that we have 2 feet, but cows have 4 legs. So it's going to be a problem finding footwear or shoes for each and every one of our cows. So Krishna said, then I will not wear any footwear. And so then Mother Yashoda relented. And it is said that Mother Cow, the cows, Mother Earth rather, instructed the cows that please go and crush all the thorns and the pebbles so that they will not prick Krishna's feet. So the cows did that. So when Krishna went out into the forest, then his feet were unharmed. Now Mother Yashoda had warned them, look, you don't go deep into the forest. And she had specified a certain distance, that you only go up to this point into the forest and then come back. And you will stay there only for a short while. So even though officially Krishna and Balaram became the herders of the calves, they were allowed to go only for a short time and only a certain distance into the forest, because Mother Yashoda was afraid that they might get harmed. In this way, the calf herding pastimes of Krishna began. Krishna was aging very rapidly. As you know, in childhood, one grows very fast. And we all have experienced that after some years, 2 or 3 or 4 years, somebody comes to see the child and say, oh, you've grown up so quickly. So Krishna was also growing up very quickly. And then soon he developed the desire to graze the grown-up cows, not just the calves. And Nanda Maharaj and the others used to tell Krishna and Balaram, look, you are very small and these cows are huge. So you are not yet strong enough to look after the cows. So continue looking after the calves, and when you grow up some more, then we will allow you to look after the cows. But Krishna would stand in front of the cowherd men and the gopis, and he would slap his arms like this, like a wrestler, to indicate that he was very strong, that he was strong enough to look after the cows. And he wanted to reassure the older gopas and gopis, don't worry, we are strong enough to look after the cows. And in this way, the gopis would float in waves of ecstasy by seeing all this. In the meanwhile, there were very ominous signs, and in Mother Yashoda's view, they were not auspicious signs. Even before Krishna began his calf herding pastimes, Krishna was becoming a little ashamed or embarrassed when he was given a bath by Mother Yashoda. When a child is very small, the child is bathed by the mother or by somebody else, and gradually as the child starts growing older, the child becomes more independent and doesn't want the mother to bathe him or her. So as Krishna was growing up, he was becoming a little embarrassed to be without his clothes in front of his mother. He was growing up. So then he would quickly run and dress himself. And he didn't know how to put on his clothes properly. So it was all quite a mess, all mix up. Things here, it was not properly done. So even though it was very sweet, at the same time, Mother Yashoda, she had an apprehension, and she became tense. Oh no, my boy is growing up. And because he's growing up and we are cowherds, so sooner or later, he's going to say, I want to look after the cows. And indeed, that's what happened. And eventually, the Brajavasis had to relent, and they had to give an opportunity to Krishna to graze the calves. But as the time went on, Krishna became even more ashamed and embarrassed to be bathed by his mother. He didn't want to be in front of his mother without any clothes anymore. So he started bathing himself, and the writing was on the wall, and Mother Yashoda was feeling a sense of dread. Oh my God. Yes, oh my God, Krishna was God, but she didn't realize it. Now Krishna will want to graze the cows, and then he'll go out deeper into the forest, and he'll be out into the forest for a long period of time, for the whole day. And how will we bear this separation from Krishna? And also, what about all the risks that are there in going into the forest? There are demons coming every day. There are dangerous animals over there. So how is this going to work out? So as Krishna was growing up, he was showing signs of being more and more independent, and he wanted to do things himself. And the writing was on the wall. Mother Yashoda was being more and more anxious. And as the calves went on, the herding went on, Nanda Maharaj started noticing something strange. What was happening? That Krishna was avoiding Nanda Maharaj. And he was actually going to his uncles, that means Nanda Maharaj's brothers. And he was speaking in a very confidential way. He was putting his hands and saying something into the ear. And Nanda Maharaj was noticing this. And then he went up to his brothers and he said, look, what's going on here? Why is Krishna so secretive? And what is it that he's coming and telling all of you? So then one of Nanda Maharaj's brothers, there were totally 5 brothers, including Nanda Maharaj. And one of them ultimately spilled the beans. And he said, you know what Krishna is saying? He wants to graze the cows. He's grazing the calves, but now he wants to graze the cows. And this was as if a thunderbolt struck Nanda Maharaj. And he was saying, oh, If Krishna wants to graze the cows, then he'll be out all day and we won't be able to see him. But then somehow or the other, Nanda Maharaj's brothers pacified him and they said, no, look, it's just that Krishna is concerned about you. He thinks my father has been going out grazing the cows for so many years and he's getting on in age and I'm his son and I should reduce his burden. So if I start looking after the cows, then my father will be relieved and he will be able to relax a little bit. In this way, Nanda Maharaj's brothers tried to pacify Krishna. Or not Nanda Maharaj, I beg your pardon. And time went on. And Krishna was giving his indications that I want to graze the cows. But Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda and the other Vrajavasis were reluctant to have that, because they wanted to keep Krishna as long as possible within their the range of their eyesight. And they didn't want Krishna to go out into the forest all day grazing the cows. So, meanwhile, there were other signs that were visible. Sometimes the cows were also not cooperating. The cows were refusing to give milk, or the cows were refusing to come out of the cowshed. So now this was an emergency situation that calls for some drastic measures. So again, an Ishtagoshti was called. All the Vrajavasis gathered together and Nanda Maharaj, was saying, look, we have a problem on our hands. Krishna is wanting very desperately to go out with the cows. He says that he's strong enough and old enough to do that. On the other hand, the cows are also showing signs of rebellion, which has never before happened in as far as we can remember. So probably this means that the cows, they want to also be grazed by Krishna. So what do? We have to find some solution. So after extensive discussion, they reached the conclusion that now we must let Krishna graze the cows. He has been grazing the calves all along, and now let Krishna graze the cows. Let us officially anoint him as a cow herder. So far he has been a Vatsapa. Vatsa means the calf and Pa means the herder, one who tends the calves. And now let us officially give him the designation of a Gopa. Gopa means Gopalaka or Gopala. So let us now give him the designation of Gopal, and let us give him charge of the cows along with his friends. And so on an auspicious day, a grand festival was organized in Vraj. For days before that, preparations were being done. And the people were going all around, here, now we're going to have a festival on such and such day. And Krishna, Balaram and his friends will now be given responsibility of looking after all the grown-up cows. So all of you, please come on such and such time and participate in this festival. And the Brajavasis were very excited that there was going to be such a festival. And then on the appointed day, they all gathered there. The Brahmanas were chanting auspicious mantras. They had lit the fire sacrifice. And then finally the time came. When Krishna had been officially appointed the calf herder, you could say that this was like his first initiation. Not in Krishna consciousness, but in cow herding. And now the time had come for Krishna to get his second initiation, which means he would graduate from being a calf herder to being a cow herder, from being a Vatsapa to be a Gopa. And so, just like sometimes, at the time of the initiation, some beads are given and so on and so forth. So similarly, at the time of the second initiation into cow herding of Krishna by Nanda Maharaj, He was given all the paraphernalia that a cowherder is required to have. So he gave the cowherding stick that was jeweled. He gave a rope that is used when the cow is being milked. He gave a bugle horn, a bugle also, a buffalo horn, and such things. And then a grand festival was organized in Vraj, and a lot of, naturally, a lot of milk and ghee and butter and all of that was used. A delicious feast was organized. All the cowherd boys were decorated by their respective mothers, and then festival was organized, and in this way Gopashtami festival was celebrated. And this festival has been mentioned actually or described in the 15th chapter of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the first verse. So if you like, I know you're getting hungry, so we'll just recite this verse, read the translation and purport, and then we'll wind up so you can all take prasadam. So can we have that verse? So every time you celebrate Gopashtami, this should be the verse that is discussed. So you may all recite after me. Shri Shuka Uvacha Tatascha Pauganda Vayah Shritau Vraje Babhuvatustau Pashupala Sammatau Gasharantau Sakhibhi Samampadaihi Vrindavanam Punyamativa Chakratuhu. The translation, please. When Lord Ram means Krishna, Balaram. When Lord Ram and Lord Krishna attained the age of Pauganda, 6 to 10, that means they had just crossed 5. While living in Vrindavan, the cowherd men allowed them to take up the task of tending the cows. Engaging thus in the company of their friends, the two boys rendered the land of Vrindavan most auspicious by imprinting upon it the marks of their lotus feet. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Purport. Lord Krishna wanted to encourage his cowherd boy friends who had been swallowed by Aghasura and then stolen by Lord Brahma. Therefore the Lord decided to bring them into the palm tree forest called Talavan, where there were many delicious ripe fruits. Since Lord Krishna's spiritual body had apparently grown slightly in age and strength, the senior men of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj, decided to promote Krishna from the task of herding calves to the status of a regular cowherd boy. He would now take care of the full-grown cows and bulls and oxen. Out of great affection, Nanda Maharaj had previously considered Krishna too small and immature to take care of full-grown cows and bulls. It is stated in the Kartik Mahatmya section of the Padma Puran, Shuklashtami Kartike tu Smrita Gopashtami Budhaihi Tad Dinad Vasudevo Bhod Gopah Purvam tu Vatsapaha. The 8th lunar day of the bright fortnight of the month of Kartik is known by authorities as Gopashtami. From that day, Lord Vasudev served as a cowherd, whereas previously he had tended the calves. The word Padaihi indicates that Lord Krishna blessed the earth by walking on her surface with his lotus feet. The Lord wore no shoes or other footgear, but walked barefoot in the forest, giving great anxiety to the girls of Vrindavan, who feared that his soft lotus feet would be injured. Purport over. So look at the verse that is being cited from the Padma Puran. You will see the last line, Gopaha and Vatsapaha. Purvam tu Vatsapaha. That means earlier Krishna was a Vatsapa, he was a tender of calves. But now, Tat Dina, from that day onwards, Vasudeva, Krishna, Abhud, he became Gopaha. So this was a graduation ceremony of Krishna from a Vatsapa to a Gopa. So this 8th day, Shuklashtami of Kartik, is known as Gopashtami. And then the preparation was ready for Krishna to now move out into the forest with the cows. The cows still didn't move. Then Krishna went in the front, and then the cows came behind. And in this way, the cowherd boys were jubilant. They were jumping and dancing and singing the glories of Krishna. And a large number of these cowherd boys and the cows, then they ventured out into the forest, each of them playing their bugle horns, some playing the flute, some glorifying Krishna. And in this way, as the Vrajavasis watched, Krishna, Balaram, the cowherd boys and the cows went out for grazing for the very first day on Gopashtami. So this is how this festival was celebrated. And on this day, Srimati Radharani in our temples is dressed as a cowherd boy, because there was apart from the main festival that was organized, there was also another smaller festival that was only for the boys and the men. And Radharani also wanted to attend that. She looked somewhat like Subala Sakha. So she dressed as Subala Sakha, and she entered into the festival silently without letting people know that it was Radharani. And she participated in that festival which was meant only for the boys and the men. So therefore on our altars, you will find on Gopashtami day, Radharani is dressed like a cowherd boy. So this is the beautiful the festival of Gopashtami. Shri Gopashtami Mahotsava ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.